Hey guys, it's Damon. Recorded earlier this week with some friends and spent 12 hours trying to edit that and make it palatable or whatever the fucking word is to my ear, and I can't. So far, I got a little feedback by the fact that as soon as I turned it on around some people, someone said, you should get some good mics. And I just kind of wanted to weep because while I didn't spend a lot of money on microphones, I did a lot of research. And from what I can tell, I'm very impressed with what I have. So it made me realize that I'm not going to put garbage out there because I've spent fucking countless hours over the past few months researching and just testing and tuning for days on end to try to figure out how to get this shit to sound good to me. And if other people don't think it sounds good, I don't even really care, but I want it to sound good before I put it out there for anyone. And I've already recorded several times and not been able to do anything with it, and I'm over it. So my best bud, Tim, I was trying to think of a cute nickname and I just went blank. My friend, my buddy, my boy is coming back, and bread and butter's back, bitches. So get your ass ready. I'm really excited about today. I think it's going to be good things. And I'm really thankful for good friends for helping me stay in a good headspace all weekend, and helping me actually try to make this damn podcast thing a reality, because they could all just blow me the fuck off, and they're not, and that's great. So I kind of love them. Ew. So do you have anything specific that you want to get us started with?
There is no Dana, only Zool.
Not at all familiar. I hear it all the time, but I don't know what the reference is, honestly.
I hope you motherfuckers hear this and you want to punch him in the face.
What motherfuckers?
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
Kisses.
Oh, I hate you sometimes. In a good way, but...
Hell, I don't know. Let's see. Here, you want to present them? You just want me to go down the list? As it stands. I'm not going to explain fucking shit.
No.
Well, I'm just going to say what's on here.
Are you going to pause and then I'll give a nod?
No. I'm going to read it all.
Read them? I'm
going to read it all together, and then you're just going to have to respond how you respond.
God.
Okay. This can be a fun game. Let's have a fun game here.
Let me get my head straight. Okay.
Well, no. Okay, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Here we go. Trump, basketball, self-awareness, Adam West, Evergreen and the Milk Pussy, Pat Roberts fucks dead babies, Sharia law.
Well, it's topical. Why basketball, though?
Why not?
I mean, you have like all this random ass, like, very controversial things, and then you're just like, and hoops.
The sad thing is, that's probably the only one that is actually, like, personally relative to me right now, this moment.
Oh, that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thoughts I have about basketball are just how shitty it is to be a basketball parent, apparently, from what I've heard from friends.
Really?
Yeah.
They got kids that play?
Well, basketball, baseball, whatever. Sports parents.
Oh, sports parents?
I don't get it.
It sucks cocks.
I don't get it. Like... It probably offends the shit out of people when I say this, but you can kiss my ass. I think sports parents are usually a bunch of dickheads.
Well, there's this whole thing that
Not
I like
always.
to call 0FG.
Yeah.
Or OFG.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. No explanation necessary, even. If you don't get it, fuck you.
Yeah, if you don't get it, then please do me a favor and... You're familiar with what a cock looks like, right? I want you to take the rim of the cock head and make sure that your lips are past it. Ooh. In other words, a dick tip is in your mouth right now.
I like this.
That's what you can do.
I like this. Yeah, that's That's not directly to you, sports parents, by the way. But
it can be. It
Some
can
of
be.
you,
I mean,
absolutely.
if that's what you're into, then go ahead and suck the fucking tip.
Yeah. And stop yelling at your goddamn kids and let them have fun.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Oh, that shit fucking infuriates me.
Oh, yeah.
That's like psychological abuse.
Watch the fucking ball.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like what they do with those fucking kids that they send into markets with fucking TNT strapped to their chest.
Dude, that shit's... You know how embarrassing that shit is?
Yeah.
When you're a kid?
Yep.
And you got someone yelling at you in front of everyone?
I remember playing, and like my parents were never like that. They were always like, "Yay, go!"
Mine just weren't there.
I don't understand what's going on.
Oh, sorry, Mom and Dad.
You know, the other kids, like my friends, especially good if it's a good friend.
Yeah.
And, you know, and their parents are like really getting into it. And some people just get into it.
Yeah.
That's their thing. That's how they like socially
I don't
get off.
judge that if your kid is into it.
Right.
And some of those little kids...
I mean, the parents, too, though. Like, the
some
parents
of those
really
kids
get into
love it. Even when it's stressful, they love it. And that's fine.
Yep.
You're probably going to kind of not be my favorite person to be around all the time. But I can still be friends with those types of people.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like I can't 100% relate to that.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's fine. Just don't be an asshole, sports parents.
Right. Don't be a jock cock.
Yeah.
You know, don't be like, oh my God, winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. Because that's how you end up
a dickhead?
A dickhead with a dickhead on your dickhead.
Dickception.
Uh-huh.
I like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Triple dicked.
Triple dicked. Right there on the silver screen with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh, the dog. The reason I was half thinking about leaving the dog in here is those friends that I recorded with the other day, we've done it before. Like, they were actually the first ones that let me just bring a microphone to their house and just set it up and record for a few hours. Mm-hmm. And it was garbage, like, you know, noisy as shit. But it gave me something to get started with editing and see if I actually enjoyed doing it. And the first time we hung out, we made up this thing called defaulting to the dog. Every time the conversation stopped, somebody would talk about the dog because we didn't know what to talk about next. And then we'd get stuck on the dog for X amount of time. So we made a rule that if we do that, someone needs to just pick a topic after like 30 seconds of talking about the fucking dog and get us off the dog. But we call it defaulting to the dog. And the whole point of that is like, we're trying to figure out if people have, if different people have a default when it comes to conversation, like the fucking weather. I mean, come on. That's like always the joke that small talk is like, oh, how about this weather? I mean, but other people have other shit like basketball or something, you know,
right.
Whenever basketball recently was like, all of a sudden everyone gave a shit about basketball for a couple months because of LeBron James doing stuff and being big.
Who's LeBron James?
King James?
Yeah, who's King James?
I don't know. He plays for a team and he makes them good.
Plays for a team and he's good?
He makes. I think it's like Michael Jordan was when he made that team real good.
That team.
The Bulls. I knew that
The Chicago Bulls.
Come on.
Oh, yeah.
You know that one.
Yeah. Number 23.
Space Jam.
Scottie Pippen.
Oh, Scottie Pippen. Forgot about him.
Yeah, there was another.
Wasn't he little?
There was a short guy. I don't think Pippen was little.
Muggsy Bogues?
Muggsy Bogues was Carolina, I think.
I always think he was a gangster.
It sounds like a gangster name. You know what doesn't sound like a gangster name?
What's that?
Raleigh Fingers.
Oh, no, it doesn't.
He was a pitcher. I can't remember for who, but he had this, like, one of those handlebar mustaches that twirled up, like, crazily. And he was just fucking awesome, and he had a badass name. There was also Mookie Blaylock, who was a basketball player. I think his full name was Mookie Blaylock II, which made it even fucking better. I don't think that's the hole that's supposed to go in.
Where? Oh.
Oh, that's perfect. Oh, yeah. I can still see you. That's very comfortable. I really hope that, like, if this stays in, that, like, there's somebody listening to this somewhere and that their headphones accidentally fall out, like the jack falls out and it defaults to, like, you know, their speakerphone or something.
Oh,
and all they hear is a couple of dudes talking about, where's it go? Oh, I don't think it goes in that hole. Oh, that's good.
Oh, well, you want to talk about that? How about the whisper shit in the last one? Everybody loved that.
What's that?
Your whisper time.
You mean
when I went to the bathroom and
story time?
Was that what it was? Story time? Yeah, whatever you want to call that. That was popular.
Yeah. Dude, I don't know. We've talked about this. When I get blitzed out of my mind on black tar heroin and I'm dropping Quaaludes that I stole from Randy Quaid, I get a little fucking weird and I like to tell stories. And in that case, I reverted to scripture.
Oh, you did? I forgot.
Mm-hmm.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, that's actually in the Bible, that whole story.
I always forget how dark and beautiful the Bible can be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe the book that was in was First LeBron 3:14.
That's actually one of my favorites of all time.
You're right.
Shit, I just had something for us. Bible related. Super fun. Oh,
Usually is.
my uncle told me very briefly, but very thoroughly about all these books in the Bible that have been removed over the years.
Mm-hmm.
And I never looked into that shit, but apparently there's a ton.
There are many.
And a lot of them are like alien shit. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they're all over the fucking place. They're like magic and fucking insanity. And we don't even get to know about it. Because someone decided, let's condense it down to the least crazy, and we have what we have now.
And this has been touched on by other people, and it's one of the things that I picked up at a young age, and after hearing it from other people, and after thinking about it and processing it, and now, I'm 37, so multiple times now have I attempted to actually learn other languages.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest roadblocks I hit, I can say most of it and speak it and even remember different pieces of different languages, stupid fucking words.
Right.
I can say cat in like 5 different languages, but if you sat me down and gave me a piece of paper, even with one of the simple ones or one of the more common ones for us, like Spanish,
right,
and you were like, translate this, I could probably pick some words out of it, but I couldn't actually do it.
Yeah.
So I know that they had scholars and highly intelligent people back then as well. It's not like being I think that we tend to think that there are intelligent people now, but everybody back then was fucking idiots. But they weren't.
Oh, hell no.
They weren't fucking idiots. In a lot of ways, there was guys back then that were way smarter than anybody we fucking have now.
Oh, my God. Yeah, if you think about how much we're aided by technology now.
Yeah.
And how little they had to do the work, like astrology and shit. Can you imagine the time and the math and the fucking understanding that went into that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Jeez.
But, I mean, like, as far as translation, I think that to try and stay on the topic of it, I strongly believe, as an opinion, because I'm not a fucking theologian or a historian or any shit.
Right.
I think that they purposely removed certain parts of it because it was either too controversial or went against what they were trying to use it for. Because to me, no matter what what anybody says, whether you believe in God or not, whether you're in that religion or not, it's a form of control.
Right.
You're trying to keep people from killing each other. You're trying to teach people that we need to be good and kind to each other and not fuck each other unless we're married.
And it's hard.
I'm hard.
Well, I've heard this said before, but I've always thought it myself, and I hate saying this because I don't want to be rude. I don't want to make a blanket statement, but I think a lot of people choose religion because it gives them an easy path. It gives them an easy, I don't need to stress over every decision I make because I can go home and pray about it.
Right. I think
and then they just whatever, but you know what I mean?
Plus two, think about this. What if we had that form of utopia that people often talk about where not every, if we wanted to, we didn't have to work.
Right.
Or we didn't have to work as much.
Isn't that what Zuckerberg's been talking about recently with automation of all these jobs?
I don't know.
People are going to have to
there's a ton, dude.
Figure out how to make what to do with themselves in the future because we may not have to work nearly as hard or as much.
When
robots are doing our jobs, what do we need to do?
I hope so.
What are we going to have to do?
But that's the thing. That's where it's really going to come to. That's what I'm saying. Like, if everybody's working and shit, but there's all these questions out here. What happens when we die? Is there something bigger than us? Is there something spiritual? Is there a consciousness?
Right.
What happened? Does our consciousness separate from our bodies? Is there heaven? Is there hell? Is there an actual way to reach the physical and I guess metaphysical and ethereal nirvana?
Right.
Inside and out and all that kind of crap. Is there such thing as magic? And there's all these questions that are so massive and big that they can weigh someone down to where they're non-productive and they're not generating income for their government or for their society, that it's just easier to say, hey, there's a giant man in the sky and he is going to take care of all this shit. You don't have to worry about anything.
Now go do your job.
Exactly. And I mean, you look at some of the rules though, and when you really get down to it, I forget. I think it was a comedian that said, why they had rules like that? And, why there were things like, don't, like in Judaism, don't eat shit with cloven hooves. Don't covet your neighbor's wife. Don't fuck animals.
Right.
I don't know where that is or if it's even in there, but I'm sure that it's implied somehow or somewhere.
Oh, yeah. Don't. Something about laying with beasts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Now, why do you think that someone had the need to come up with that for a rule? Do you think maybe they were out in the desert and, maybe...
People were just fucking everything?
Maybe Caroline the camel was, a little bit too friendly one night.
Well,
and,
it makes sense to want to create some kind of structure and some kind of rules and some kind of shit.
You don't want people...
But do you think... I've never thought on this level. Do you think that maybe at some point before religion, they were trying to come up with some sort of anything to, like, create a... What's the word? Oh, shit. I don't know. Just create like a civilized community. I wonder when that actually began.
I don't know. I think that there was probably, because with advanced thought comes, we talk about this a lot at work, how we're reactionary.
Oh, yeah.
We never prepare ahead of time. And being...
We need it to be brought to our attention to get us thinking about it.
Or something negative needs to happen.
Yeah.
We only react when there's something negative. We're never proactive. That's the word.
Right.
I think it's kind of the same thing with that. People weren't proactive in these small bands and tribes and stuff, but I think that maybe some negative things were happening. Maybe... There was one dude who was bigger and stronger than everybody else and was fucking everybody's old ladies, or he was fucking all the women in the tribe. And, maybe the other guys or one of the other guys was smarter than him and was like, we need to put some rules in place so everybody gets some pussy.
Yeah.
That
makes sense.
I mean, it can get really crazy and convoluted from here because, what if the guy who came up with that wasn't interested in pussy at all? What if he was interested in the guy that was running around fucking everybody?
He's just mad about all the women.
Yeah, maybe all the women.
And he's like, guys, you need to take your ladies back so I can have a chance at that.
I want to get the dirty on with Dapper Dick Daniel. And
Dapper Dick Daniel.
you guys as old ladies keep slurping his fucking jerkin and
ain't no gravy for me.
Exactly. Maybe Daddy wants some pipe too.
Daddy loves his pipe.
Yeah, yes he does. You made another point though. You were talking about was it your uncle that was saying about books that were removed?
Yeah.
Like the most common one that I think of came up early for me, like around middle school or something, was when I was still very much into religion and stuff and involved with the church, but I had a lot of questions and shit, and I was like, they started coming out with this stuff. You're like, well, there's the Dead Sea Scrolls. What the fuck's that about? And then more recently, I've heard a lot more about the Book of Enoch.
See, I don't know anything about either one of those things.
there's other books too, and because kind of passing, we don't really buy into it. It's just something that's interesting at the time.
Yeah.
Especially when we're laying down to go to bed. Like me and Nikki we've watched like almost every episode of Ancient Aliens that there is across like all 12 seasons.
Yeah, I stopped at a certain point, and I didn't have a reason to. It was just like, I'm ready to watch something else for a while.
Well, yeah, exactly.
I just forget about it, but it's good. If it didn't have all the the kooks make it good, but
it's a good show because they found a good way to keep your attention.
Yeah, they know what the fuck they're doing.
Because if you watch like some of the not as well produced versions of that shit, like what's been out there forever.
Oh yeah.
Or if you listen to the podcast
God.
from some of the guys, like that's they just
oh my God, I kind of want to though. Now
and
I want to hear like one of the crazies.
It's pretty cool. Actually, I forget who recommended it, but there was something about it's the Higher Side Chats. THC, I think it's the podcast, but it stands for the Higher Side Chats or something like that.
Okay.
And when I went and looked it up, I saw Richard Belzer.
Who's that?
Was on there with them. He was in Law and Order Special Victims Unit, SVU.
The older guy.
The one with you know what I'm talking about there. The one with Ice-T.
Yeah.
With Ice-T in it,
like
which is just fucking badass. Like, he's the most badass motherfucker ever to live.
Well, I'm curious now, because I'm curious what he's actually like outside of that shit.
Who, Ice-T?
No.
Oh.
No, somebody, might have been Joe Rogan, somebody was talking about him on a podcast I was listening to the other day, saying, like, man, he's just getting a paycheck, and all he's got to do is say, like, a real easy line every now and then. He's been doing it for, like, 15 years.
Ice-T?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He used to be a comedian or something?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I know he was a rapper. Said. He was in I listened, I don't even remember how I came across it. Probably before I started listening to these podcasts and shit, when it was just like I'm going to go look up as many stand-up comedians as I possibly fucking can on Spotify and listen to all their fucking specials.
Yeah.
I can't remember the guy's name, but he had a whole thing about Ice-T and how, like, I think the guy's a little bit older than us.
Yeah.
So he's probably like in his 40s or something by now.
Right.
But still, he would have been a teenager when, like, we were in middle school, and, like, you would have been in, I think, elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, when stuff like, I think it was New Jack City came out, that's like I think it's like a Detroit gangster movie or some shit, something like that.
Yeah.
And Ice-T was in it, and it was just funny because he said Ice-T's the baddest motherfucker because he can say the gayest shit and he still sounds like a badass. Like, he has a line in the movie where he's pointing a gun at a dude's head and he says, "I want to kill you so bad my fucking dick is hard."
Oh man, I need to see that shit.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, like, bad movies that I've heard about and just forgot to watch, and I really want to. There's actually a podcast about just that. I forget what it's called, but they just watch, like, bad movies.
Yeah.
I hate bringing up podcasts while we're doing this sometimes. I don't know why, but the one that I always talk to you about, the My Brother and Me,
mm-hmm.
They, I always forget. I think it's once a year they watch Paul Blart Mall Cop.
Jesus Christ.
And talk about it for like an hour and a half. Like, they watch it all over again.
Right. And
then come up with some new perspective on something happening in it
that
they didn't notice before. And it made me go watch it because they just analyze every fucking scene, every detail. Like, what the fuck are we supposed to, like they point out every obviously flawed, like, thing in the plot. It's fucking hilarious.
That's probably a good one to go with because I think that they actually, it's one of those things, I thought about this a lot recently too, is like modern storytelling in this form of movies / screenplays. It's like such a science now with them knowing what they can or can't do and say and how they need to word things or put it in there, like to try and make it, at least give it the visage of having some type of underlying moral or some shit. But it really,
in movies?
Yeah, but it really fucking doesn't.
Yeah, that's what they cover. Like, stuff with parenting and, like, different little things that are like, what the fuck are you trying to convay with that?
Yeah, like the whole thing with Paul Blart. He's a fat mall cop who, they couldn't cut it as a... I guess he couldn't make the force to be a real cop, so he's a mall cop, and I think, isn't he diabetic?
Yeah, and his wife died. His wife got hit by a milk truck.
But he can still be a good guy, and he can still go
he
out
lucks
there.
into being a badass. That's what they just keep pointing out.
Yeah.
But overall, you can't not. You have to kind of like it just because it's so fucking dumb.
You have to like him. You have to like the character because the actor, he's funny. He does a great job at that shit.
And the second one is just nonsense. If you haven't seen it,
I haven't. I didn't even know they made a second one.
Oh my god, it's in a hotel.
What the fuck does he do?
And there's all these gangsters and like it's fucking crazy. There's a scene with like all these like waterfalls and he interrupts this play and there's this giant fight scene. It's amazing. There's an ostrich that he fights.
That's okay.
It's brutal. The whole movie is
I'll
just
be honest, I
shit.
wasn't interested at all until you said that there's a fucking ostrich that he fights.
I don't want to ruin any more of it, so I'll stop.
All right.
That's all you need for now. I knew that would get you.
I am down with foul fuckery.
I actually wanted to start a podcast just to build up interest in Paul Blart Mall Cop.
Right? What's a good
I was
way to
going to make it
in?
less obvious, but I got excited.
Right. It happens.
I got very excited.
Yeah, it happens. I can't really think. I'm jumping back to that original, books of the Bible.
Oh yeah.
Thing. There are a lot of books verified that were removed, and part of that's because of the translation. Because the King James version is called the King James version.
Yeah.
Because fuck the original. It's not good enough. We need very specific things put in here to make these motherfuckers listen and be our little pleb bitches.
Well, that's always bothered me too, is like questioning, because I've never cared enough to look into obviously books were written by different people, but were any of these crafted by like groups of people? Mm-hmm. Like, did people just sit down and like discuss here's what we need to convey, how are we going to do it?
I think it was. I don't think that any one book. I think that the Bible is transparent in that it presents itself as it is a collection of writings from various people, and that in the end it answers the question because someone, you wouldn't have to be that intelligent to say, wait a minute, you mean all these people wrote these different sections of this book, but all of it is true and real, and I need to follow it?
Yeah, and where did they all collect it? They all just wrote it?
What if they were wrong? What if this is wrong, or that's wrong, or what if God doesn't want to be called God or Yahweh or whatever?
God. You know what it's like?
What if this? What if that? They have the answer to that.
Yeah.
They say that it is the infallible word of God, because although he had to use humans to proxy to write it, it's still the word of God.
Did they have a machine to test whether or not those people were did they have a lie detector? Like, what if that person was a psychopath? What if...
If he was a psychopath, he would probably pass the lie detector.
And what it reminds me of, the whole thing that we're trying to figure out is if a class handed in all their essays, and the teacher picked the 10 that made the most sense for what the teacher
the teacher's agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that teacher wrote, put them in a book and said, "Here we go."
Yeah.
That's pretty much what I see.
That's what it is. And there are people that actually need that, though. That's what I've struggled with. That's why I
and there are good people. There's a lot of good people. Yes,
very good people, and people that I love and adore. And I kind of make myself sound like I'm pure 100% atheist, and I'm not really.
Yeah,
I'm more undecided.
Right. Did you have everything kind of pushed on you?
Yes.
Okay.
Very hardcore.
Do you think, though, and this has been bugging me, do you think that because of that, I consider that almost to be not hypnotism, but almost a form of brainwashing?
It's indoctrination.
Yeah.
It's 100% indoctrination.
But parents sending their kids to a camp where they don't even know what is going to be said to you.
Right.
The whole time you're there is weird.
Yeah.
I was sent away for a week at a time. Mm-hmm. And some of them were super, this is just a summer camp kind of deals. But some of them were all day pray, all day pray. Like,
Yes.
whole fuck. Like, let's go play a little, but then you got to go sing to Jesus for 3 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
Until you cry.
I got lucky.
Like, they want you to, like, break the fuck down.
I only went to a few of them, and they were mostly cool. They had these moments, I think 3 times a day, because there was in the morning, really quick. There was in the middle of the day, and then there was the before bed. But it was mostly, here, let's tell a story about the Bible and what the moral is. And it was more of like, let's use this religion as a way to instill morals.
Yeah.
The camps were never like indoctrination camps or anything, or what do they fucking call them in the communist countries? Like the re-education camps and shit. It was never anything like that for me, but I also went to some of the ones where it was multi-denominational, where there's certain denominations within Protestant, or what's bridged off of the Protestant form of Christianity, that are the only thing they're really intolerant of are other forms of the religion that are intolerant, if that makes sense.
Oh, okay. Like,
They're very, very liberal. They're like, here's what we believe. If you believe it, come hang out with us.
Yeah.
Or if you want to believe it, or if you're interested, come hang out with us.
I want to believe.
If you, even if you don't believe it, and you don't care,
and that's what I
but you just want to hang out with us,
appreciate.
you can come still hang out with us, and we're not going to push this shit on you.
Yeah.
So you have which is awesome. Those are the people that I would hang out with all the time, because maybe I could learn to be a better person, because they're not focusing on making sure that everybody's got to be the same, or everybody has to fit within these confines of all this bullshit of the religion, of work, of society, of everything. Yeah. I fucking hate that shit. And you know what the funny thing is? What I've found, though, like on the opposite side of that, as far as like you have the religious people or the spiritual people, and then you have like the pure atheists.
Yeah.
They're the same way. Like,
I agree.
some of the pure, like some of the people who are like, well, I'm an atheist and science is my God, and I don't measure my love in Christograms. I use a yardstick.